Members of the board, tonight it's my pleasure to introduce the Part-Time Employee of the Year recognition. Tonight I would like to announce Jeffrey Henson, the Senior Recreation Leader 2, as the Outstanding District Employee. Jeffrey, come on up. From his first shift as a recreation leader in the parking lot of 2016's Camarillo Christmas Parade at Santa's Village, to his taking over the adult sports program as the Senior Recreation Leader 2, Jeffrey takes whatever is thrown at him as his personal mission to make the programs bigger and better. I could describe to you the countless facts and figures of which he has helped the district accomplish. I could describe that Jeffrey has grown the kickball league by 30% from 4 teams to 6, or that he's increased the softball league's revenues by about $5,700 a year, or I could get into the kickball league that he's taken over and raised those revenues as well. But I won't. Actions speak louder. A testament to his dedication to our district's success is that Jeffrey has stretched every available second in his allotted 960 hours in a year to take care of, projects that were completed and that staff were taken care of, and that most of all, that he took care of each and every adult sports team. Adult sports managers have lots of different things to talk about. They want to talk about, the rules of the league or how something might be inconvenient. Jeffrey's gone out of his way to take care of this. He works really well with our adult sports groups. This presentation may be from me, but the nomination is not. It's not from the Recreation Department. His nomination is supported by our staff and his colleagues from the administration, parks, and recreation. Part-time on the clock, full-time in our hearts, it is my honor to present to you the Pleasant Valley Recreation and Park District's 2018 Part-Time Employee of the Year, Jeffrey Henson. As a token of our appreciation, Jeffrey, please accept this plaque and gift. And what he doesn't know is that we also asked Christy, his wife, to join us. If you don't. And Jeffrey.
Hey.
Something from the Nike store for you. So, all right. Thank you and congratulations.
I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Well deserved.
What would you like me to see?
In the middle.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Jeffrey.
Okay, thank you. Chairman Lloyd, members of the board, tonight I would like to introduce James Driver, the president of the Camarillo Cougars Football Club. He'll be doing his annual update presentation. James?
Thanks, Lenny. Mr. Chairman and members of the board, it is truly an honor to stand before you once again. Last year was my first opportunity, and I was so glad that this year that our friend did not have music with her video because I was so jealous having to come behind that. So I checked with her prior to my presentation. I said, do you have music? She says, no music this year. And I said, oh, thank God. So I'm just going to present to you and give you an overview of how our program is going, what we are doing, what was like last year. So I'm in charge of this as well. Oh, right arrow. So this is us. Last year, our youngest division, our Mighty Mite kids, 6, 7, and 8, they won the championship. That's them on the left. And our cheerleaders placed first in the JAMS competition. They actually were won 3 championships. This is just a brief overview. It really doesn't change. It just kind of gives you the history of our program and some of the players that have played for us and have moved on either to high school and are now playing either in college and or maybe even have made it to the big time. Maybe we'll see them on Sundays. As indicated, I'm the president. My vice president is Krista Nowak. The secretary is my wife Beatrice, and our treasurer is Gregory Christine. We were established in 2005. We've grown from 155 in 2005 to the high of almost 400 in 2007. I will tell you that our registrations remain stable, consistent. We are a very, very strong program in the community. You might hear other programs or other things about football and football being trying to be put away, but our program consistently, year after year, is able to field at least a team in every single division. Last year we had 2 teams in our senior division, so we actually fielded 7 teams. This is just a brief information about our ages and weights. We believe that without question we have the best information in terms of putting together players that are paired right for one another. With weight divisions, you won't see a larger kid going against a smaller kid. And so the ages and weights is a certified item for us, and we really tout that when we are asking kids to play football. We continue to be the leading youth football and cheer program in the community. We have a strong community base, and we're financially sound. We remain active in our 501(c) status. And I must just take a pause here, although it's not up there. I have to thank Lanny because Lanny has been a tremendous support to me personally. Anything that I ask for, and sometimes things that I ask for and I can't get, he works out for me, tells me why, works around our schedule. But he's been a tremendous support for us, he and his entire staff, making sure that we have practice fields available and we can get on fields, and then we follow the directions as laid out by him. So thank you, Lanny, and the entire Park and Recreation Division for your support. We continue to have great support within the community. I will tell you that we get a lot of financial support from a lot of people in the community, which we just cannot do it by ourselves. The city assists us with purchasing helmets year after year, and we just try not to ever turn a kid away from playing football that desires to play football. So we find a way to make sure every single kid who desires to play football, if it's cost-driven, we try to find a way to find that money to make sure that youth is able to play and or cheer for our program. We have continued success on the field. The freshmen, seniors, and the Mighty Mites won their division. They became division champions this year, so we had 3 division champions, and our Mighty Mite team was undefeated in 2017 and won the American Conference Trophy. And that's some of these kids right here that you're looking at. They're proud recipients holding up the trophy. They're excited to be here tonight. Our cheerleaders won the 2017 USA National Cheerleading Championship at Disneyland and the 2017 State Jams Championship at the Pomona Fairplex. In 2017 Rio Mesa Cheer Squad had 4 former members and 20 former members from the Camarillo Cougars. Our cheerleaders at Adolfo Camarillo High School. So not only are we proud of fielding athletes in the community, the most thing I am proud of as the president is that we not only just encourage kids to play football and cheer, but it's the academic portion that we get behind. If an athlete, cheerleader, football player is struggling in academics, you will find a coach on the sideline working with that youth to ensure, number one, they have their education and they're getting their education right and their priorities right at home, and then they're participating in the sport of cheer and or football. So that's one of the things I'm most proud of as the president, making sure that our athletes are continuing their education and putting that first and foremost. Some of the changes this year that we're excited about is that we really got into the 21st century here. We're a little bit behind, but we got on Facebook, we're on Twitter. I don't know what that other one is. What is that little picture? Okay, see? I don't even know what that is. Instagram. So we've gotten social. So we have our communications director who is really getting the word out, getting the information out there, sharing what's going on with the Cougars, highlighting special things, highlighting our coaches, highlighting our athletes in the community. We launched this year a new mobile-friendly website. It's easy. Normally what we would normally do, we would have a lot of walk-in registrations where we'd go sit and we'd take people's information and we'd write it all down. With our new online registration, it makes it easy. It sends the forms to the families. They send them back. It's really a seamless way to handle our business and get information out to parents. We have a new contact management system to improve communication with the parents through email reminders, important dates, and a weekly coach spotlight highlighting our Cougar coaches. So that's one of the things we really wanted to highlight to the board this year, that we really move forward. This year we were recipients of a USA Football grant from USA Football, and that's one of the other things that we're proud of. It's not an easy award to get USA Football. You do apply, and this year our program received a grant from USA Football, so we're excited about that. We partnered with USA Football. This is just one of the things to help our coaches remain safe, making sure they're teaching and coaching kids under the current and most safest information that's available to coaches and athletes. We partner with AACCA, and that is the American Association of Cheerleading Coaches and Administrators, and that's to ensure that our coaches who are coaching are also are teaching and coaching with the most up-to-date information. And with that, that ends my presentation. But I would like to just take a moment and pause here and just introduce one of our cheerpersons, Naomi, who would like to say just a couple of words about the cheer program and what's been going on.
Naomi, did he warn you he was going to do this to you? Or did he just call you up here on the spur of the moment?
He kind of warned me. I had warned. Thank you for taking the time to hear about us. This program has been, a life-changing program for my children. This would be my third year in the Cougars organization, and I got on the board a couple years ago just because I wanted to not just hear about change, but I wanted to help impact change and watch the organization grow. Overall, this program is pretty amazing of how the coaches interact with the players, the coaches, from the football side to the cheer side. I've received nothing but support for extra practice and whatever we need, especially on the cheer side, since that's where my daughters are on. It's hard. It's grueling. Coaches put many hours of their time and they volunteer to do all this to impact all of our children. It is breathtaking how much of their heart and soul they pour into every single player. So I'm honored to talk about our program today just because every single coach that I've seen in this program, whether football or cheer, they all give every single child a little bit of themselves to help just our community and our organization to be better. That's it. Cool.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the board or comments, Mike?
Yeah, hi. Thanks again for being back again, and I'm glad you made it through your first year and now your second year. You're still smiling, so that's good. Okay. Is there a policy about how many max hours of practice you can have per week, or how does that actually work out?
There is. So the way it works at the very beginning of practice, which we begin on July 16th, every player must participate in 2 hours a day, mandatory conditioning. So it's 10 hours for the week. And they do that prior to any contact. They just wear a helmet. It's all.
So that's the first week or two?
First week or two is just all conditioning. After that, Players then participate in, again, 2 hours, so it's 10 hours a week. When games actually begin, practices are cut back to 3 days a week. So they participate in 3-day-a-week practices. So typically, for example, I practice Monday, Tuesday. The players are off Wednesday. We practice Thursday. And then we have a 1-hour walkthrough practice on a Friday.
And how many hours during those 3 days?
How many hours during those 3 days? 2 hours a day.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2 hours a day. It really breaks down to about an hour and 30 minutes when it's all said and done. It's a practice, because usually there's talk time in there that the coaches will then give instruction to either coaches and or to players.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And I just want to add that thank you for, of course, all your help and stuff. I've talked to parents who've told me they have kids in your program. They love it.
Oh, great.
You guys are doing great. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Super. That's good to
Elaine?
hear.
No, other than thank you. Your presentation was fine without music, so.
Oh, thank you. I'm always trying to look to tweak it. So.
You do.
Buddy?
I noted a name here, Gregory Christine. Is he here tonight?
He is not.
He's not? Is there a Frank in his family?
There is.
His dad's a lawyer?
That's his dad.
Oh, I hadn't seen anybody else with that name before, and his dad and I went to UCLA together way back in the day, and we both became lawyers.
Yes, and he is a...
And we work in the same area, so I still see him all the time.
Okay, yeah.
I used to talk about his son playing football.
He played, Gregory played at the University of Washington.
That's great. That's great. That presentation was excellent. It was the right length. It was detailed. It was streamlined. Loved it.
All right, so Macy, if you don't present music, I won't present music.
We have a truce on the music. Dr. Dixon.
Yeah, your practice fields. Do you still practice out at Freedom Park? Or
We do.
And ultimately, that area on the end there is going to be developed into baseball fields. Is that going to be an issue for you, or is just moving to another field going to work for you? That's do you?
Because I think we've talked about that. Yeah, but we haven't figured out
Yeah.
the...
Is the fact that there's lights there important to you, or could you just as easily move to a non-lighted field to accommodate?
Well, in the fall, then we move to Mission Oaks.
Uh-huh.
So when the time changes, we move over to Mission Oaks. So lights aren't an issue during the summer hours.
Okay, so if we found you fields that were a non-lighted area for that same period of time, you'd be okay?
Yes.
Okay, that's the only question I had. Thank you very much.
We would more than graciously take anything that was provided to us.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah, the field where they are now doesn't have lights. The lights only face toward the baseball field. So, I just have one question, and that's on your numbers. I showed your school district. You're budgeting an increase from $10,628 to $13,000. Have they raised their rental rates for the facilities to you, or are you just budgeting conservatively?
We are anticipating they are raising their rates. We had a meeting with their staff about a year ago, and we were instructed that those rates would be raised. They didn't give us a timeline, so we are anticipating at any moment they will say, oh, this year we're raising the rates. They haven't given us anything in writing, so we just want to include that there is a possibility of that rate increase.
So have they mentioned the possibility of replacing the grass fields with artificial surface?
They have.
Okay.
They have, and from my understanding, in attending a local meeting there, Rio Mesa was one of the schools that's first up to receive that turf.
Okay. And I would assume that would not reduce your availability of the field because
No.
they don't have to worry about growing grass. You can literally plan around the clock when it's
Correct.
artificial. Just have to keep
Right.
playing. So.
And in speaking with them, and again in the local meeting that I attended, they welcome us to continue to participate there.
Great. Super. Well, thanks again. See you next year.
Absolutely. Can I just do one thing? Can I bring these young
Please.
men to maybe take a photo of this?
Absolutely.
These are our Mighty Might coaches that came with their players. So if it would be okay with the board, we'd just like to get a photo with these young men they're proud of.
We'd love to.
Come on, coaches. No, just the kids? Okay, just the kids. All right.
No, you come up here.
Yeah, they can come up here.
They got the nice logo on the back there.
Yeah.
The screen.
Come on,
You guys in the middle. You're the stars here.
Yep. Yeah, it is.
Get the camera right there, guys.
Oh, is that your trophy? Yeah, put it in the middle. Yep. All right, trophy in the middle. There we go. Everybody looking right over here. Heads up, nice happy smiles. Looking right here. Don't watch your face with the trophy. You've got like in the middle of the day. Perfect. Okay. Ready? Everybody looking up here with nice smiles. Couple looking good. Looking over here. Perfect.
Thank you, kids.
Thanks, gentlemen. Congratulations.
Thank you again for our indulgence.
Okay, item D, Pleasant Valley Swim Team. Macy.
Chairman Malloy, members of the board, I'd like to introduce Tim Hedrick. He is the head coach and general manager of Pleasant Valley Swim Team.
Thank you, Macy. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, it's a pleasure to be addressing you again this year. If we're counting, this is my 10th year. It feels like yesterday for the very first one over at the other location. With me tonight is my board vice president, Mr. Kyle Behan. It's not often that I have another board member attend, so I wanted to make sure that we give him the recognition that he deserves. A quick synopsis of the Pleasant Valley Swim Team. We operate a 200-member swim team out of 2 pools in Camarillo. We have our development program, which is our youth-oriented program, and that's Learn to Swim, stroke development, things like that. That operates out of the indoor Pleasant Valley Aquatic Center. And then we have our competitive program, which tends to be the older kids, the ones that attend a lot and are the ones breaking records and making names for themselves. They're out at Camarillo High School. Up until 2014, we were all jammed into the indoor pool, and when the Camarillo High Pool came online in 2014 is when we split the program up to try to accommodate all of our team members. Just a real quick outline there. I may be bouncing around slightly. Membership trends. As noted, this is my 10th year. I started in 2008. We had that year, at the end of that year, we had about 140 swimmers. Ever since then, we've been higher, and the last 4 years now, we've been well over 200. Actually, last 6 years, well over 200, and we're holding steady in the low 200s. The black bar represents the number of youth, that is 18 and under swimmers, and the yellow represents our masters swimmers. I want to distinguish them from lap swimmers. They actually come in and they swim a coached workout in the mornings with me and my son Austin, who's one of our coaches. So that's the basic makeup. About 184 youth and 20 adults. Okay. 82% of our members at the indoor pool are Camarillo residents. So we do a good job of drawing from the local community. Some of these members are from the now defunct Moore Park swim team. So we onboarded them over this last year. They're making the drive every day from Moore Park out to Camarillo. And also this year out at the Adolfo Camarillo High School pool, we helped out the Newbury Park High School swim team, who were without a pool for their entire swim team in the springtime. Through a board commitment, we offered up swim team memberships at no cost to the Newbury Park High School kids, so that they could swim during their swim season and then compete in their high school meets and finish out the year. Our use of the 2 pool resources are much more stable over the last 4 years, and we've got consistent time blocks. That means all year round, for all 12 months at both pools, we finally achieved that. We've had some adjustments in the schedule over the last several years, and everything is nice and consistent. One big, super huge shout out to Macy. If you recall, during the fires, the Thomas fire that started in Santa Paula moved to Ventura, moved north into Ojai. It fouled the area here for 2 solid weeks, maybe more, in early December. For our upper level kids, that's when we were going through junior nationals and senior national swim meets, and everybody in the county was scrambling for pool space. Not only the swim teams, but also the high school water polo teams that were in session. The only pool in the county that was operational at that point, due to the air quality, was your indoor aquatic center. And Macy jumped through some major hoops to try to accommodate as many organizations as she possibly could, including ours. And there was a point in time there where we had a block of practice time, and we reached out to the national group at Ventura and brought them in with us so that they could get some training time with us. So the gift that gives. The other part of our administration synopsis is that our meat income is still trending upward. If you recall from last year and prior years, the meat income is the critical part of our organization that keeps our membership dues down. And that is still trending up. Our meats are becoming more and more popular. And with that, then our income rises. We also have some increased expenses along with these meets, more pool rental time at Camarillo High School for these meets, more officials that are on deck. As alluded to in the football briefing, there's a lot of issue and concern around safety. And we hire extra staff and extra officials on deck at these meets to try to ensure a higher quality and better safety for everybody involved in the meets. Income trends, that looks a little funky. I'm covering 2 years here, the 2017 year and also the 2018 year, which we're almost finished with. This represents the last items there, even though it shows a dip. That represents 9 months, not 12. We're actually trending higher than last year. We're beating our current expectation by, I think, 6K. So again, everything going well. And our basic philosophical goals have not changed. We're trying to keep our membership dues as low as possible. We're trying to focus on other avenues of fundraising, but easy avenues of fundraising. We don't want to burden our team members with lots of extra fundraising activities. The one we did last year, which was the outdoor swim jitsu obstacle course, we're going to be bringing that back next year. We weren't able to do it this year due to a contractual issue with USA Swimming, but we intend on bringing it back next year. I wanted to basically retread this slide. This has been consistent over the last couple of years, and it's a key that I'd like to bring to the board's attention, or keep re-bringing to the board's attention. We have a long-standing partnership with the Parks and Rec and the Aquatic Center. We're proud of it. We like to direct a lot of our swimmers to the Aquatic Center to be members of staff there. I press on my senior level kids that it's a way of giving back, such as I'm giving back to them. I want them to give back to the next generation of the community, and they start doing that through their operations with the Aquatic Center. The other part is our service blend is key to our developmental level. We choose not to run a Learn to Swim program. We are relying on the Parks and Rec Department and through the Aquatic Center to run the Learn to Swim program, and that's working very, very well. As kids graduate up through your Learn to Swim program, they're referred on to our swim team, to where a high degree, I think it's like 90 to 95% of the tryout requests that I get come directly from the PVRPD programs. Okay. I wanted to introduce you, or reintroduce you to a couple of people, introduce you to a new person this year. The top swimmer there, Jason Liu, we've talked about him for the last several years. He's been a star for PVST for easily 5 or 6 years. He finished this year as the Ventura County Male Swimmer of the Year, which was a great honor for him. He'll be going to Pomona Pitzer in the fall. The young man has a 4.6 GPA. He's an outstanding, outgoing young man, and I'm very pleased, to share him with Macy on the Aquatic Center staff. The second one, Carolina DeZekiel, she just finished her first year at Camarillo High School. She was the fastest 500 freestyler in the county, the 20th fastest in the state at all 4 grade levels of high school. She was undefeated in all league swims, regardless of what event it was. And you've seen her before, you'll see her again. The third one is new to you, and I brought her here tonight. Anna, if you could please stand up. Members of the board, this is Anna Behan. She's been on the swim team for the last 4 years. She's going to be an 8th grader at Las Colinas. She's an amazing success story in that her work ethic is amazing. She's very focused on swimming. She listens, and she executes very, very well. This past year, as a 12-year-old, she emerged as one of the top talents in Southern California swimming. If you remember from my presentation, there's 25,000 swimmers in Southern California swimming. She's in the top 20 in 8 different events. That's across strokes, across distances. She set a total of 6 team records this year out of the 18 that we have for the 11 and 12 age group. 3 of the 6 records were Carolina's records. So Anna's got a great example ahead of her, and Carolina has a target on her back. But all props to Miss Anna here. She's doing a great job for us.
Thank you.
And I think that was it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any questions?
Mike, you want to start?
No, I just want to say thank you. No questions. Thank you very much for all your effort in coming back and your work and effort with you and all your other members for the community. Having a pool doesn't help if you don't have anybody like yourself and others out there working with the kids and stuff. It'd be a wasted facility. We need these partnerships, and you're a good example. Like you mentioned, these partnerships is what makes our community work. Because we can't do all that. So
right.
that's
and I failed to mention that the swim coaching staff that we have, the 5 members of our swim coaching staff have been stable with the team for the last 4 years. And I think that pays huge dividends on they can grow with the team as well. They're familiar faces, and it all works. So,
thank you again.
Thank you.
Elaine?
And I enjoy you bringing the young people so that we can meet them. So when I read it in the paper, I can put a name with a face. So,
Thank you so much.
Appreciate that.
You'll be hearing more about Miss Anna and another teammate very shortly. Thank you.
I just have one question. Why did Newberry Park lose their pool?
It was being redone to meet ADA guidelines, from what I understand. That between the high school and City of Thousand Oaks, they delayed.
The what?
They just reopened their pool on July.
So they're back in business?
Yeah, they just reopened.
Okay, another great job. Thanks.
I've been on the board for 5 years, and every year hear about really great success stories with your program. So congratulations, and really great job. Thank you. So.
Yeah, every year, Tim, every year you bring something even better than before. And, the talk about sharing the pool space with other programs, it's really cool because, we all know the thing limiting most of our programs are facilities. Correct. And it's especially true. There's no substitute for a pool. I mean, you have to have a big place with water in it. It has to be heated. It has to be clean. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's an immensely precious resource. And to hear that ours was used like that, it's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. That brings us to item 6, public comment. I only have one card. Mr. Matthew, he should be migrating up here. All right, first card is from Matt Lorimer, who is no stranger to this board. And
good evening, people at home and the board. I have a few comments tonight. The first comment is I want to say the restrooms that are being redone are really good. We started with the women's. We're working our way to the men's. You save money. I know it's just a restroom to you, but McDonald's learned they lost a lot of business when they didn't clean up their restrooms in the early 80s. The restroom looks great, Bob. Your team's doing a great job. You should have a ceremony and thank those people. They're just not workers, they're people, and it's important to recognize workers. So I hope you'll do that in the future when it's completed. The next thing I want to talk about is something that's really been important to me for years. I've lived in this community for many years. I've advocated for a senior center for many years. You know, for 30 years, the forum you're in here, City Hall, the City Council hasn't given one dime. Most cities have given $250,000. I've talked about it. Something really made me angry, and it made a lot of people angry last week in this forum. And you know what it was? Now, I like the people who work at the hospital. Neil, you're a great guy. But I got to tell you, Dignity Health has no dignity. Let me tell you what happened. They're opening a cath lab. They have 28, they're in 28 states, Dignity Health, which owns St. John's and Camarillo. They made $28 billion. The Camarillo City Council, did they do a needs assessment and force one on the senior center like here? No. They gave $500,000 so they can get a placard on the wall. That's unacceptable. You know, the seniors in this community have been paying taxes for years. That money could have been used to build a senior center. It could have given scholarships to kids in this community. How about dealing with all the graffiti along the area and the 25% crime? Instead, the city council has been bought off by lobbyists. It's disgusting. I got to tell you. You know, I like the hospital. I like the people who work there. But I don't like a company that goes pandering to a city council for $500,000 when they don't even take care of their people in their own community. The people in this community need to ask themselves the question in election time. It's time for 8 years is enough. You're right. Term limits are needed. But that idea that you give $500,000 to a hospital that made $28 billion, and I've been coming here and asking for this city to step up and take care of their citizens, is unacceptable. It's ridiculous. This is the same city council that lost $72,000 at the ranch house and put the same board on. I mean, ridiculous is enough's enough. You know, I want to see this city council move forward with a new senior center. You know, that's what's important for this community. And I'm going to speak about it, and I think it's important. And damn it, it makes me mad when this city council rolls over and gives $500,000. If you're at home, you ought to ask your city council if that's acceptable. Okay? It's not acceptable for anybody to be giving money out to a mega corporation. And I need to say that because it's important to me. And it's important that people hear that. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Matthew. I have no other speaker cards. Does anyone else here would like to speak to the board? Okay, seeing no one, we'll move on to item 7, consent agenda. Does anybody have a consent agenda item they want to pull? I don't see any. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as read?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Karen?
Director Magner? Aye. Director Mishler?
Aye.
Director Dixon?
Aye.
Director Kelly? Chairman Malloy?
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. That moves us to item 8, public hearing on the district budgets fiscal year 2018-2019. And we'll start by having Leo Young give us a presentation on the budget.
Good evening, Chairman Malloy, members of the board. Tonight I'm going to ask that the board approve and adopt the fiscal year 18-19 General Fund, Assessment District, and the Quimby budgets along with resolution number 596. During the process of this budget preparation, the staff, along with the board, held 3 budget workshops. They were held in April 26th, May 3rd, May 17th. During those workshops, we discussed the 3 budgets, the general fund, the assessment district, and the Quimby fees, or the Quimby funds. These budgets were adopted on June 6th at our last board meeting, or approved, preliminarily adopted. The general fund budget, which is Fund 10, have revenues at $8.0 million, expenses at $8.012, with a revenue exceeding expenses of $13,500. We are going to be very busy this year with our projects. Capital and Quimby fees will be at almost $1.3 million in improvements to the parks and buildings within the community. Some of the challenges that the district faces this upcoming fiscal year is the CalPERS unfunded liability, the health care cost. Although we did receive some good news on our health care, we budgeted a 7% increase, and with the current plans that the employees have right now, it will average a 3.46 increase in our budget. But October, the employees are allowed to revisit what plans they would like. Some of these plans went up 25%, some went down 25%. On the average, they were 9 to 11%. So that 3.46 is preliminary right now, depending on what plans the employees choose to go with in October. A few of our other challenges that we face will be the minimum wage increase, our utilities, water and electric, and the state legislation. Here is the 4-year actual of the general fund in comparison from 13-14 clear up through 16-17. The revenue is in blue, the expenses are in gold. Here's a general fund comparison in different capacities: the tax apportionment, which is our primary revenue source, the park and rec revenue, personnel, supplies and services, and the capital. And as you can see, the capital has increased quite a bit compared to what we did last year, which is represented in the gold. Moving on to our capital projects. This is what we've done the last 4 years. As you can see, back in 15-16, we were just about $480,000. And again, for 18-19, we're at almost $1.3 million. These are the projects that are going to be coming online this upcoming fiscal year. We've got the pool plaster, fiberglass resurfacing, a pool slide metal support, the Bob Kildee restroom roof, Freedom restroom concession roof, the Charter Oaks tree windrow, the Pleasant Valley Fields painting phase 1, the community center exterior restrooms, the Bob Kildee irrigation pump, meter enclosures at 3 parks, Encanto, Foothill, and Adolfo. That equates to $307,000 on this slide, which will be paid out of capital funds. Additional projects coming out of capital funds will be the Arneal Ranch Park, Pitts Ranch Park Pavilion. So the total for the capital would be $396,400. The park dedication fees, also known as our Quimby fees, these came online in 1975. The purpose of these fees was to ensure adequate open space acreage. It gave the authority for passage of land dedication ordinances only to the cities and the counties, and the fees and land conveyed directly to local public agencies providing park and recreation services community-wide. This money is restricted and can only be used for improvements that increase the value or enhance the appearance. In other words, these fees cannot be used for personnel. The projects that will be coming online this fiscal year, the Quimby fees came about with these projects, the Amley, Comstock, the Alacora at Mission Oaks, KB Homes, and Crestview. We have received a little over $6 million. We've spent almost $190,000. Those were on the play structures that were installed last year. So we have a balance of $5.8 million. As you can see, the last column is the sunset date. That's the date that these fees need to be spent. That's why we're hitting it hard this upcoming fiscal year to do the improvements and to show the community that we're able to spend the money the way that they would like it to be spent. The projects that are going to be coming online with the Quimby funds is the Valley Lindo restrooms, the Nancy Bush Park Playground, the Nancy Bush Picnic Area, the Nancy Bush Pavilion, and we're looking at potential restrooms at the Mel Vincent Park, and then there'll be a Freedom baseball fields, but that project's to be determined. It'll be new construction. These projects equal just almost $896,000. Now we have the assessment district. The assessment district was formed in 2001, and the purpose of it was due to the district anticipated limited revenues, and the community was growing and expanding park acreage, and they anticipated they could have a future funding shortfall. It was created to improve park maintenance, fund the maintenance needs, and fund capital improvement projects. The assessment budget is 1.109 in revenue, and expenses are 1.104, so our revenue exceeds our expenses by $4,100. The assessment district consists of 26,240 parcels, and according to SCI Engineering, our consulting firm, they anticipate the revenue coming in this fiscal year of $1.108 million. Here's the 4-year actuals of what we've spent the last 4 years on the assessment district. If you notice in fiscal year 15-16, expenses do exceed revenue. That was because we had excess from prior years, so we were able to use that money for expenses. Here's the budget comparison, again by categories. We've got the revenue, we have personnel, supplies and services, and the total expense. If you notice, our personnel from last fiscal year to this current fiscal year of 18-19 has decreased $90,000. That was due to the landscaping contract increasing, so we had to shuffle our personnel. These fees you can spend on personnel, unlike the Quimby fees. So tonight I'm asking that the board consider and adopt Resolution 596, which is for 3 budgets: the general fund, the assessment district, and the Quimby funds. You have any questions or comments?
Anybody questions? Thank you, Leo. Okay, since this is a public hearing, we'll have to do this formally. I bang the gavel. I now declare this meeting open for a public hearing to approve the district's budgets for the 2018-2019 fiscal year. Members of the public are now invited to provide comment only towards the district's budgets for the 2018-2019 fiscal year. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak for approving the budgets? You have 3 minutes to address the board. Seeing no one, are there any members of the public that would like to speak against approving the budgets? You have 3 minutes to address the board. Seeing no one, I now declare this public hearing closed. Any comments or questions from the board members? We've already discussed this. This is our 5th time now, so do I have a motion to approve the budgets?
I'll make a motion to approve and adopt the budget and resolution number 596 for fiscal year 2018-2019.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Karen, please call the roll.
Director Mishler?
Aye.
Director Dixon?
Aye.
Director Magner?
Aye.
Director Kelly?
Aye.
Chairman Malloy?
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Number 9, new items, discussion action. A, consideration approval of plans for the Springville retaining wall design renovation project. That has to be Bob Sarasulo's item.
Good evening, Chairman Malloy, members of the board. Tonight I'm asking you to just review these plans that we have going for the Springville wall, retaining wall. That project's finally moving forward. So, again, have you look at these plans when we get to them. So we can recommend the board consider and approve the plans for Springville retaining wall. We've gone through this a couple months back, but on January 3rd, 2018, the board retained Delane Engineering to design and submit plans for the wall, and also put a fence on top of it to keep dogs from jumping into the replanted area when we're done. The park was first built in 1997. It's a 5-acre park. It has 2 sections to it. The bottom section has 3 tennis courts and a portable restroom. It had a playground there, which we removed 6 years ago. The north section is approximately 3 acres. And again, we had Vista Gardens was built up there. We have our off-street parking for 18 vehicles. It used to have a softball field, which we all know we converted that to the dog park. So that happened in 2010 when we did the dog park. It's approximately 1.5 acres of usable turf in that area to the parking lot. Extended the walkway to the entrance for ADA and to make it off-leash into the dugout, or bullpen, excuse me. We installed a 5-foot fence that connected to the existing fence, which was a softball field. And again, we did the bullpen and with 3-axis skates and a ramp to the ADA. So the focus of this renovation is to address the slope on the north side. Again, it was built in 1997, and when it became a dog park, a lot of dogs kept running up and chasing the balls. People were throwing up there, so we were losing a lot of dirt and growth on that hill. So it's about 25 feet tall. It's about 390 feet long, what we're proposing. And this is what it looks like right now. And again, that will come down probably 5 feet, 6 feet from where the fence line is now.
Explain what you mean by down 5 or 6 feet from that. Explain what you mean by that.
Okay, where it sits right here, there's actually a mow curb, probably about right here. And that hill's just over 20 years is sloughed down from all the rains and.
But that's not the location of the proposed wall.
Yes.
You're not talking, are you?
Yes, proposed walls right down where the mow strip is.
Okay, thank you.
And you'll have to move the irrigation.
Yes.
If you're going to move it 5 feet, yeah, because
Yeah,
irrigation's pretty close to that fence.
Well, as you can see over here, there's a main line goes up to the irrigation up on top of the hill, and I believe there's 2 or 3 valves in this whole hill. We'll have to pull down below. And again, it's just pictures of the existing conditions. And right now, that's all temporary fencing that we got to rent. So again, staff has been working with Delane Engineering. They've been quite busy and kind of put us on the back shelf, but they've moved forward. They got us the plans to us, and they're working on the scope of the work right now. And again, it's going to mitigate help reduce the damage from the erosion, the dogs. And after we're done with the wall, we'll put ground cover up there, trees, shrubs, whatever we can get in there, look nice, drought tolerant. It'll help out. Again, retaining walls to minimize erosion. It's a little bit more money, but in the long run, retaining wall is the best way to go. And we start off with a double tier. I don't know if you remember, we started with a double. Board suggested a single tier, so we had the guy design that, the engineer. And this is basically what it'll look like. With the only different, there'll be another 4-foot fence on top of that. So it'll be it should be level across the whole thing without any steps, maybe a couple steps on the ends. I don't remember on the plans. But then we'll put another fence going upward. And we haven't decided on that one. We'll come back to you on that one.
Is the fence going to be physically drilled into the wall or going to be back a couple feet from the wall?
It'll be back about
a couple feet.
About maybe a foot.
A foot or only a foot?
Yeah, same as Nancy Bush. Same design.
Okay, and then you're going to probably get to the height of that wall?
The wall will be...
Because in the plans you got up to 6 feet, but that's not going to be a 6-foot wall.
No, that wall should be about 40 inches.
40?
3.5 to 4 feet.
Okay.
And then above that will be another 4-foot fence. And we want to keep it open. And again, I got some pictures for you to look at. So here's the plans for the wall. Keystone. It's a keystone type wall, which has no concrete. We have 3 of these in a district. Nancy Bush, Freedom Park, the BMX, and the skate rink. And then we have, I built someone. Equestrian. That was the first one I did. Couldn't remember that one. Thank you, Nick. So, again, no concrete. It starts with a gravel base. And then we just, it goes so high and you put pins in it. You pull this geogrid back, you tighten it down, you put dirt back on top of it, and there'll be gravel at the base of it with a pipe down low. I'm not sure if it's in this picture. It might be over here. Here it is. So that'll be a perforated pipe that, let the water go out and into the grass.
Do you have to put plastic behind it so the foliage doesn't grow through the blocks?
Nope.
It does. You don't have a problem with that?
Nope. No, we haven't had one yet. So, and we have drains on all three we've done. It doesn't call for it.
Okay.
That's just it's kind of hard to see it, but that's the wall, and there's 4 feet in front of it will be a DG path, decomposed granite dirt path, with the mow strip in front of that. So there'll be a little walking path for people. The idea is to put it about 4 feet high, 3 feet, so people can sit down, rest, and then get back on it. So.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So here's the ideas for fencing. These are all cable. The reason we're recommending this is we can see through it, because behind that hill we want it to see visible, and we don't look like institutionalized. We want to keep it open and fresh. So again, this is all cable design. This one too, it's all stainless steel.
You have to have the cables close enough that the dogs don't go through it.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what created this whole problem, is the dogs running up and down the hill, destroyed the vegetation, and started eroding the hills.
Right, and it'll probably be about 4 to 5 inches separation.
Yeah, that's fine.
Or we can go something like this, and this is what we have out there at Camarillo Grove Dog Park and Nature Center. Yeah. So this idea is a little cheaper, the one on the left, and it's appealing.
It's more like a screen type thing.
Yes.
What is the screen made of? What kind of material?
Metal, just metal.
What is the at the
painted, anodized, or?
No, it's not. It's not even painted. It's just dipped.
Yeah. Okay.
With galvanized. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're not creating a maintenance issue. Yeah.
I actually like this, but can we get that powder coated?
We could try. It'd be costly, I believe. But we can look into it.
Costly to go out there and have to sandblast that all off, and
we'd take it off and replace it. It'd be probably cheaper to pull it off, slap a new piece on, walk away.
How many panels do you suspect will be needed?
Are those 16-foot panels, Nick? 24. So I don't have my calculator. 24 into 400.
A lot.
Like
a lot.
20 of them.
Do you have an idea what the longevity or the lifespan of those?
I'm going to give it about 25 years. I think the wood will rot out before the metal will.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So anyways, these just ideas we'll come back to you with.
Yeah. So Bob, it would either be wood or it would be the metal.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're trying to stay away from wrought iron because the maintenance issue on that one.
Right.
Again, here's just some more chain link fence. It's everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, it's way better.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, fish gun right now, 81,000 is what we budgeted for last fiscal year, 17-18. It's being rolled over to this year. So right now there's no impact. It's just look at the plans. So I recommend the board consider and approve the plans for the Springville retaining wall renovation project.
Any more questions from the board, Mike?
On that 81,000, I don't need the exact breakdown, but is most that, I'm assuming, is staff going to do anything with the fencing, or is this going to be 100% contracted out, or what's the concept there between staff and contracting out?
It'll depend on the numbers when they come back. The engineer's got to give us that project estimate. We'll have a better number when he comes back, and the time of year, if we can do it or not.
Okay.
So we have a couple projects we have to do still.
On that fence location, I'm just thinking out loud that maybe 1 foot behind, if someone scoots back, maybe you want to, you can obviously push the fence back maybe 2 feet or 1.5 feet or something just to make sure that people have plenty of room there to sit or something, but that shouldn't be a problem. But it's also, yeah, it's important because you're not going to be cutting anywhere into that slope. You're moving out from the toe of the slope. You're way down where the field is. We have no issues there.
Basically,
and do we even need a city permit to do what we're doing?
Yes.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
It's a retaining wall, and it has to be engineered. I went and talked to him.
Okay.
So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. That's why we had to hire an engineer, because it had to be engineered. Yeah. Okay. Elaine?
Yeah, it's going to be closed at the end so that dogs can't get up around it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. The current temporary fence butts right into permanent.
Yeah, I know, but we have a dog that would jump that 4 foot in one little leap.
It'll be roughly 7 foot when said and done.
Okay.
Yeah, uphill.
Yes.
Yeah, he can go uphill, no problem.
Bob? I don't have any. Okay.
Are we going to have?
Doc?
I get distracted there for a minute, and you may have answered this already, but see, the idea is to build a wall, and the fence is going to be several feet behind that.
About a foot.
And what would you have as the surface between the wall and the fence? Would that be?
It's just a cap. So what it is, the block itself is roughly 21 inches deep, 18 wide. These blocks are 100 pounds apiece, so they stack up. So where the fence will go in will be about a foot, 14 inches back. And on top of that is a cap, a solid cap to where you can sit.
The cap would go all the way back to the fence, pretty much?
With about maybe a couple inches, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. That's my only question.
So even the smallest dog can't
Yeah.
sneak behind a cap into the fence, yeah. Bob's done this before, so.
A few times.
Okay. I don't have any questions. I'm really glad we're getting this project. We've needed this for a couple of years. That's such a beautiful park and such a beautiful neighborhood, and to having solved this problem with rental fences, sort of the pits, and I'm glad we're going to do it upright. So, I have a motion to approve the plans for the Springville retaining wall renovation project.
I'll make a motion to approve the plans for the Springville retaining wall renovation project.
Second. Beat you.
Thank you.
Been moved and seconded. Karen, please call the roll.
Director Magner?
Aye.
Chairman Malloy?
Aye.
Director Dixon?
Aye.
Director Mishler?
Aye.
Director Kelly?
Aye.
Thank you, Bob. Looking forward to seeing the bids on that project. Okay, item 9B, adoption of ordinance number 9, amendment to section 234 of ordinance number 8, governing the use of parks, recreation, and facilities. Anthony.
All right. Good evening, Chairman Malloy, members of the board. I'm taking over for Megan this time to get this ordinance done. Well, tonight we're here to recommend that the board review and adopt ordinance number 9, amending section 234 of ordinance number 8 by the board chair requesting a motion to direct the secretary to read the complete ordinance number 9 title and to waive further reading. And a second action, after the reading, the board chair requests a motion to approve the second reading of and adopt the district's proposed ordinance number 9, an ordinance of the district's board of directors of the Pleasant Valley Recreation and Park District amending Article 2, Section 234 of ordinance number 8 as amended January 2018, regulating the use of the district's skate park. So just a little background again. As the district has evolved, ordinances have been developed to control the use of district facilities. Ordinances provided language for all aspects of the use of parks and facilities, and initially ordinance numbers 1 through 6 were each maintained as separate documents. However, they were combined in 2008 into ordinance number 8. Ordinance number 8 has been amended several times over the past 10 years, initially in May 2010, again in April 2011, June 2015, and again in January of 2018 to the version currently being discussed today.
Just the black part?
Yeah, the blue part.
And at the May 2nd, 2018 board meeting, the board of directors approved an operational change to the skate park So currently, the district is in the process of removing daily staffing requirements, approving new hours of operation, and discontinuing the sale of skate park passes. Due to those changes, certain language needs to be changed within Section 234 of Ordinance Number 8. And that is summarized to mean that there are certain devices, such as non-motorized bicycles, scooters, or wheelchairs, that qualify as other wheeled recreational devices. Riding of a skateboard or other wheeled recreational device is considered hazardous and is defined in Section 831.7 of the Government Code. And any user not wearing a helmet, elbow pads, and knee pads are subject to citation. At the June 6th, 2018 board meeting, the Board of Directors introduced Ordinance Number 9, which amends Section 234 of Ordinance Number 8. There is no fiscal impact associated with this action. However, the district will see an approximate net cost savings of $15,000 a year by discontinuing daily staffing of the skate park. And once again, we recommend that the board review and adopt Ordinance Number 9, amending Section 234 of Ordinance Number 8 by first, the board chair requesting a motion to direct the secretary to read the complete Ordinance Number 9 title and to waive further reading. And second, after the reading, the board chair requests a motion to approve the second reading of and adopt the district's proposed Ordinance Number 9, an ordinance of the Board of Directors of the Pleasant Valley Recreation and Park District, amending Article 2, Section 234 of Ordinance Number 8, as amended January 2018, regulating the use of the district skate park. Any questions or comments?
Okay. Thank you, Anthony. So we will follow the script here for ordinance amendment. I'm going to ask for a motion to have the secretary read the complete Ordinance 9 title and to waive further reading.
I move that the board secretary conduct a second reading by title only of proposed Ordinance Number 9 and waive further reading of the ordinance.
Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay. Secretary Magner.
Ordinance Number 9, an ordinance of the Board of Directors of the Pleasant Valley Recreation and Park District, amending Article 2, Section 234 of Ordinance Number 8, as amended January 2018, regulating the use of the district skate park.
Do I have a motion to approve the second reading of and adopt the district's proposed Ordinance Number 9, an ordinance of the Board of Directors of the Pleasant Valley Recreation and Park District, amending Article 2, Section 234 of Ordinance Number 8, as amended January 2018, regulating the use of the skate park?
I move that we approve the second reading of and adopt the district's proposed Ordinance Number 9, an ordinance of the Board of Directors of the Pleasant Valley Recreation and Park District, amending Article 2, Section 234 of Ordinance Number 8, amended January 2018, regarding the use of the district skate park.
Do you need a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Okay. Karen, call the roll.
Director Dixon?
Aye.
Director Mishler?
Aye.
Director Magner?
Aye.
Director Kelly?
When this came up last month, I voted to abstain regarding this particular change because I didn't have enough information. Since then, I inquired of the community about this particular change, and I didn't find one single person that was against it. So, aye.
Chairman Malloy?
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. 9C. Consideration approval of bid award for district managed IT services. Once again, Anthony.
All right. Good evening again. And thank you guys for suffering through that one with me.
And thank you for scripting it so accurately so that we got it all
That
done
one was better.
legally. Thank you.
Tonight we are Considering and recommending that the board approve and authorize the general manager to enter into a 12-month agreement with All Connected Incorporated to provide managed information technology services for an amount not to exceed $18,140. A little bit of background. In August of 2014, the district entered a service agreement with Act USA to provide information technology services and limited IT support. Mostly those services included server management and maintenance and remote support, and however, it did not include software support. In 2017, the district performed a major upgrade of office infrastructure and IT equipment. And the agreement with Act USA was not updated at that time to reflect the new infrastructure and software requirements that the district has. The current contract is generic in nature, and there are relatively few specific safeguards in place for the district. Further analysis of the situation showed us that modern office IT maintenance requirements lay mostly outside of our typical administrative employee skill sets, and government agencies in general typically respond in two ways. They either develop an in-house IT staff or will retain a private IT contractor. We currently fall under the second model and are recommending that we continue to do so. In response to that, the district board of directors approved a RFP, which asked to evaluate the minimum district IT service requirements, with optional items including identifying user training opportunities and providing software recommendations for increasing staff productivity and security. That was in March. 4 companies submitted bids based on the RFP. 2 companies were chosen for interviews and site walks, and the low bidder is All Connected Incorporated in the amount of $18,140 for IT services over a 12-month period. The bids are shown here. Now, these are all for a 12-month period. However, the disparity in the bid size, a lot of it comes down to the hardware recommendations that were coming with some of the bids. All Connected and Exact Technology Solutions actually were the only 2 companies who came in and bid service-only contracts without any hardware attachments or riders along with their bid. Konica Minolta attached a rider to their bid saying that they would only perform the assessment if we hired them before, so in essence they did not complete the RFP, and the County of Ventura Information Technology Services Department requires certain hardware if we were to contract with them, which is the explanation for the price disparity there. The initial scope of work is planned out over a 5-week period, beginning with the assessment and an internal meeting with the service manager and deployment team. All of the following bullets will be performed by the contracted company, and they will essentially be performing a full asset information and inventory and getting to learn our network as thoroughly as possible so that they can provide the best services possible. That will continue through week 5, which will include reports in the 4th week, and in the 5th week will include recommendations regarding backups and firewall solutions, which are common when changing service providers because each company does typically like to use their own solutions. So some hardware expense may come about. However, they're giving us the option to choose which direction we'd like to go with their recommendations rather than requiring a certain solution. The recommendation for the bid award is based on their base bid, All Connected's base bid, and their approach to fulfilling the requirements of the RFP. All Connected Incorporated meets all the requirements and spoke to the optional requirements by including consultancy hours in which we can choose to fulfill our optional requirements by contracting out for that period of time if we so deem necessary. Fiscal impact for this recommendation: the district has allocated $36,000 or $36,282 for combined IT services and hardware. The fiscal impact of this bid would be $18,140 for contract services specifically. It is recommended that the board approve and authorize the general manager to enter into a 12-month agreement with All Connected Incorporated to provide managed information technology services for an amount not to exceed $18,140. Any questions or concerns?
Mike?
Yeah, I noticed in your paperwork here that, Anthony, that they provide existing services to some other agencies in the county, some other locations. Did you contact or call any of those people for references?
Yes, I did. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the exact organization that gave. Every organization I spoke to with them gave them a glowing review. However, one was very similar in size to us. It's a school district, I believe, and they are actually in a very similar situation to us in regards to their IT infrastructure, in that they have physical backups on site. And All Connected is very much pushing for cloud-based services and things along those lines, which I understand because All Connected runs cloud services, so product. However, the school district pushed back on that a little bit. I was concerned with how heavily All Connected would want to have us use their services, and they've worked with them throughout the entire process of keeping them on site, keeping their backups physical on site, and not forcing them to basically buy into their own setup. So I was really pleased with that.
Okay. But essentially, we have to remember, I'm assuming, of course, that this is contract services. So like you already mentioned in your slide, we're going to be expecting some type of hardware costs along the way here, whether it be for backups or for new servers or something, right? I mean, there'd be additional hardware costs.
Yes, it's likely that initially there could be a one-time hardware cost of about $3,000, and that's just a round figure for a firewall. Our current firewall setup is run through our current contractor, and he, in essence, built it himself. And All Connected uses more industry-wide firewall materials. They're willing to work with it for the time being and have the capability of updating the current firewall we have. However, they don't recommend keeping that option. That being said, we do budget for hardware expenses over on a yearly basis, which is the difference between the services and full IT service.
And of course, our software is not included in this. So obviously, right. Right. So potentially, I'm not sure, but after they do their audit and investigation and all that type of stuff, and they come back with the recommendations, there may be something to do with our email service and all that type of stuff and calendar service. I'm just wondering. I'm assuming that's on the board. I mean, that's on the plate to be looked at, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. In fact, every indication at this moment is that there's a possibility for us to save a little money on software because we're a government agency, and that option really hasn't been pursued over the last few years as heavily as it should be. And they're a very large professional organization, so they have opportunities that our current contractor doesn't quite explore.
Do they exist outside of Ventura County then?
Actually, I'm not entirely sure about that. Only contacts I have contacted were in Ventura County.
Okay, thank you.
Bob, you have any questions?
Why did the present? I think I saw in your paperwork that the present contractor didn't want to bid. Why was that?
Yeah, he chose not to bid because he specifically did not want to deal with software support.
Thanks.
Yeah. No questions? Elaine?
I thought maybe the county was going to give us an employee with $91,000, so I was just hoping.
That's actually something that a lot of IT organizations do. They will farm out their employees that have one in-house, but that was just services and hardware alone.
Okay, all right. Thank you. No.
One more last question, if I can.
Sure, Mike.
What does the city of Camarillo do for theirs? Do they do it in-house or do they go out, contract out? Do you know? I'm just curious.
I think they have an in-house IT person. I could be wrong there, but I do believe they contract out as well. I'm not sure exactly who they contract out with. I think it might be the county actually, but I'm at that point I'm just guessing. So
okay, no, I'm just curious. Thank you.
Yeah, we have a a long and not particularly successful history with technology. The guy that wears Leo's hat and Catherine's hat used to also be our IT guy. And, you know, we really stretched that poor employee thin. And keeping up with the fast-moving technology while doing other jobs is really impossible. And having an in-house staff person to do this sort of thing, I personally don't like it, because in my personal experience in small companies is when you get your own IT person, he has his own empire and he starts telling everyone how to run their business. And never works out that great, because they're IT guys, they're not business people. So I really like the idea of picking a consultant with government experience, so he understands the sort of rigorous security issues that we have and the approvals and all that sort of thing. So to me, this is a tremendous deal, because while our network isn't big, there's pretty significant complications there with printers and routers and website support, and there's email marketing, and I mean, we do a lot of stuff there with a lot of potential. So this looks like a great deal to me. So do I have a motion to approve and authorize the general manager to enter into a 12-month agreement with All Connected?
I'll make a motion to approve and authorize the general manager to enter into a 12-month agreement with All Connected Incorporated to provide managed information technology IT services for an amount not to exceed $18,140.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Karen?
Director Magner?
Aye.
Director Dixon?
Aye.
Director Mishler?
Aye.
Director Kelly? Aye. Chairman Malloy?
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Item D, review and approve the right of entry agreement between the City of Camarillo and Pleasant Valley Rec and Park District for Adolfo Park.
Grab the... Sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
Whatever's comfortable for you, Mary. Mary's dealing with a really serious back problem, so standing, sitting, whatever works for you, we'll be fine.
So board action requested tonight is recommended the board review and approve the right of entry agreement with the City of Camarillo for Adolfo Park. The City of Camarillo is intended to construct a new subsurface monitoring well within the city-owned right-of-way. The City of Camarillo requires a temporary staging area 110 foot by 150 at Adolfo Park. The reason for that is the temporary right-of-way, which is the sidewalk, is where they're looking at putting the monitoring well. The well is needed as part of the city's desalter project, as the city will be collecting groundwater samples. They'll be actually installing 3 different wells throughout the city. This is just one location for that as part of the entire network for the desalter. So the area that they're asking for is the purple area right there as their staging area. So as they drill and put the monitoring well in, which is in that red area, what they're asking for is use of our park, the 100 feet by the 150 feet. The district would need to grant the City of Camarillo the right to work, the right to enter work area. So some of the key terms. The work would be in compliance with Camarillo's noise ordinance between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. We've also asked that once they start drilling, there is going to be a 24-hour period of time. They would be required to notice all the neighbors to make sure that all the neighbors know and to make sure that they're within those requirements. The city then would install and maintain a 6-foot fence around the work area for safety and liability reasons. Prior to entry, what they would need to also do is we'd need to agree on an irrigation to modify that area, because obviously we do not want to irrigate it while they're in there. At the conclusion of the use, the work area will be restored to the original state, with the city paying for the actual cost and whatever cost it is to get it back to the original state. That would also include if we needed to water more, they would be paying for that as well. The city, at its expense, as I just said, shall replace all the turf and any irrigation which is damaged in connection with this project, and shall be reimbursed the district the cost of the extra water. The agreement is 180 days or till completion. So once they start, What they really want to do is get started probably sometime August and September, get it started and get it done. So there's no negative fiscal impact associated with this action at this time. However, the district would be reimbursed for costs associated with this project as well as the use fee. One of the other thing is the city will be paying the district $20 a day for five hours a day for that space. So because we can't use it, rent it, so they will be paying the district for that. So if it's 180 days, 5 hours a day, $20, then potentially they're paying us about $6,000 for that space to be offline to our community. So once again, it is recommended that the board review and approve the right of entry agreement with the city of Camarillo for Adolfo Park so they can stage that area. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Or comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple. Number one, when they're done, what kind of remaining structure is going to be?
So the only thing that you'll see, and let me go back, is where that monitoring. See where that red dot is,
Yeah.
which isn't even on our property. It'll be a monitoring well, kind of the size of a manhole. So what they'll have to actually do is go back and take groundwater samples from that. So you won't even see that, and it'll be in their right of entry. It won't be on our property.
It's going to be on the sidewalk or the street?
It depends. They may have to go one or the other. It depends on where they can get the best, where they're going to have to be, or where they can get that.
Next is the amount of $20 per hour, 5 hours per day. Is that a standard number, or where did that number come from?
So typically, when we have to take stuff offline, so we're taking it's offline to customers. So since it's being taken offline, so we rent it. What is it? $20, Karen, for open space, green space? Huh? So it's usually $20 for green space. So we're charging them because nobody can use that space, and that space is used, and that park is used typically August, September, and October for different groups that go out there for soccer and some of those kinds of things.
Okay. Is there, as I was reading this through, thinking the amount of money we're talking about, there's very little. It came out to 0.6 cents per square foot per day. But I wondered whether this might be an opportunity to, rather than have them potentially tear that up and then restore it to its original condition, where we are planning to be going forward looking into some water saving renovations to some of our parks anyway. And this park to me looks like one that would be an ideal park to be looking at some areas to take out of irrigation, and maybe with the, rather than paying us $20 a day for the use of that space, might the city be willing to assist us in taking a portion of that perimeter of that park and converting it into non-irrigated land that would save us water money over time. I'm assuming that part of that park is in the Camarillo Water District area. Just a consideration, because I think the amount of money we're talking about getting from them is nominal. I mean, we certainly would want to cooperate with the city, but this may be an opportunity to rather than using the expense to restore turf that we're just going to have to start watering again, to maybe convert some land into non-irrigated area.
We can ask them. The other thing is the money that we receive from that, we could look at doing some turf mitigation for that as well.
Okay, that's all my questions and that's my thoughts on it.
Is that 2 huge trees taking up about 2/3 of that space?
Well, one of them is one is gone. Remember, one we lost. So there's another tree that's over there. So they'll have to finagle over, kind of out of the way.
Okay. All right.
Bob? I just have a comment. I remember when we came to the conclusion out there at PV Fields, and it became apparent that we were going to get hit with these gigantic fees of over $700,000, many of them straight city fees. And we didn't get a break at $20 an hour or $20 a day or anything like that. They broke it off in us, and I'm still upset about it. So I want to cooperate with the city, but I don't think that that's enough money for taking that piece of land out of. I just don't.
Okay, Elaine? No comments? Okay.
No.
Mike?
Mary, our park sign, where is that? Is it inside the purple shaded area, or is it past that, our park sign on site there?
Can you? It's further down, isn't it? It's down a little bit further.
So it's going to be outside of, that's my question, it's going to be outside of their potentially fenced-off area?
Yeah.
So people could still see the sign, we don't have to move it or anything?
No, that sign is further down here.
Okay, now, are we going to have, when you talk about expenses, if our staff is involved in working or doing something with them, do we charge our staff time to the city? Is that part of the expenses?
We would.
We would if we had staff, if Bob got called up and said we need someone to look at something. So it's not just a physical cost of moving irrigation, but it's also our staff costs would be included in that.
Correct.
Okay. Then another question is, I know we have a limited amount of parking there. The city provides along Adolfo Road, but it's not the whole length of the park. Do you know if this purple area or where that well is going to be? My question is, where the well is going to be, is that where their parking spaces begin on the street? Do you know, Bob?
I know there's parking back.
Back there
I know there's
is.
parking back here.
But it ends at some place in there.
I think it's.
Well, I'm just curious because the reason I'm asking that question is if they put that over on the street, are they then going to take away parking? Because if someone goes out there and parks on top of that manhole cover, they won't be able to take a measurement or reading during the day. So is that going to be an impact on what it's city parking anyway, it's not our parking, but is that going to be a potential impact? Is my question, Bob, for the city parking there. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. I believe that area right there, like you said, it's real close there where it's no more parking. So
Probably on the edge of it anyway.
It's in the park area, so I'd say it's 100 feet from the edge of the park, and if you go back, so 50 feet of it might be, but that's just temporary, and then they'll probably put a red zone in front of that well, just so they can get into it.
So we may lose a little bit of parking there
We could.
because we don't have that much to begin with there. And there's this for the people on the public watching. If you see up behind the park, we have all those houses, and nowhere in there did the city ever plan a walkway from the neighborhoods behind into the park. So the only entrance into that park is along Adolfo Street itself, and the only place you can park there, and it's a very busy street, of course, is there's only several parking spaces there along a portion of the park. So we may be losing one of those limited parking spaces maybe with the city doing this action. But this is the city stuff anyway. We have nothing to do with that, I guess. Okay. Do you know if they're not going to have any electrical connections there? I don't think so.
No.
I would be surprised if they did. Okay. That's all I have. Thanks.
I already asked you, didn't I, Elaine?
Yes, you did, sir.
I'm getting tired, so.
So am I. I'm falling asleep.
Well, I'll try and brighten things up here.
Okay.
First of all, I'm a big supporter of the desalter project. Water is a big part of our budget. Like better than 10% of our budget. Water expense is huge, and the desalter is a big part of the long-term picture in having affordable water in Camarillo. So, I'm really happy to be a part of supporting this project on the district's behalf. The potential revenue here is like completely insignificant. It's such a small amount of money, it doesn't matter. And in addition, we would never rent that space, so we're not losing any potential revenue. I can't imagine that little corner of Adolfo Park has ever been rented in our lifetime. So what they're offering to pay is 100% incremental revenue to the district. And I think it's unwise to sort of sharpen our pencil and try and grab the last dollar out of this deal. I think this is very fair and appropriate, and that the city is doing a good thing for the community, and we should support it all the way. So, has anybody else got any more comments?
Yeah, I'd like to make one last comment on that. My position on this was not to certainly oppose this. I'm certainly in favor of the desalter too. I'm just feeling like we have a potential opportunity to make this work better for us if we were to rather than tearing out landscaping and replacing landscaping with that we're just going to have to irrigate again. If we had an opportunity to somehow convert this into a chance to take some land out of irrigation, which we already are planning to do in some of our parks somewhere, then maybe there could be a double win. And if we use less water, that's better for us. It's better for the city. It's better for everyone. So that's what's my thoughts on that. Not to oppose the city on this.
Okay.
So
I'm also not against the desalter. My problem is not with this one little bitty part of a park. Mine is this the way that we're going to continue to operate in the future? Like I said, when we got that bill for, I think it was $740,000 in fees, we ended up financing that, and so that turned into a much greater number than that. And so I just think that our tax should be one where we protect ourselves instead of always being the one who does the accommodation and never getting that much in return. That's just my point.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Mike?
No, I'm just going to, Neil, I'll make a comment on what Dr. Neil Dixon was talking about, the water reduction stuff. The purple area is the area, of course, they're using as they're talking about. If we were to potentially reduce water out there or grass, I would think the portion along the street would still be left with grass. The portion that would be taken out would be in the very, very back of the park up against those houses that no one can see from the street.
I agree absolutely. I'm not.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is the city is not going to.
I'm not saying that the purple section should be the part that we take out. I'm saying that the use of the resources, the labor, the expenditures could be potentially used in a different way.
Okay, no, okay, I'm making sure. Okay.
So.
And we got $1,800 of unbudgeted revenue that we could have Bob work on what we could do to sort of plow that back into that particular park and more cost effective and enhance the value of it to the community. I think that's a great idea. Okay. Do I have a motion?
I recommend that the board approve the right of entry agreement between the City of Camarillo and Pleasant Valley Recreation and Park District for Adolfo Park.
I'll second it.
Karen?
Director Mishler?
Aye.
Director Magner? Aye. Director Dixon?
In its present form, no.
Director Kelly?
Aye.
Chairman Malloy?
Aye. Motion carries 4-1. Item E, minimum wage increase and updated job description.
Okay, good evening, Chairman Malloy and members of the board. This evening I will be presenting 3 board action items. The first is in regards to minimum wage and the effects of our full-time and part-time classifications and salary schedule. It is recommended that the board review and approve the updated job descriptions and accompanying salary schedule. In the last couple of years since the Senate Bill 3 has been signed, staff has brought to the Personnel Committee and to the board the potential impacts on the part-time salary schedule, all the while realizing that we will need to begin assessing the impact on the full-time salary schedule as well. And that's what we've done this year. One of the key positions that we realized as a district that is missing was someone who solely handles our branding, marketing, and social media presence. During this year's board goal setting in January, the board asked that staff assess this need, and we created the marketing specialist. As discussed with personnel in 2017, the compaction of some of our full-time classifications have begun to show, especially with the program specialist, recreation specialist, and the HR specialist. As you can see, we are currently at $11 an hour, heading towards the $1 increase in 2019. This, along with adding a brand new position, has made us take a closer look at what we could do. The positions that either currently fall below the $12 minimum wage or are in line with those that do are these listed: the Recreation Leader 1 and 2, the Senior Recreation Leader 1 and 2, Lifeguard 1 and 2, Water Safety Instructor, Aquatic Center Assistant Manager, Administrative Services Worker, and the Office Assistant. Again, with the increases in the part-time range, it carries over to our full-time positions as well. And again, these are the positions that are being affected with this minimum wage increase in 2019. We request that the above classifications, or the listed classifications, be combined to help offset some of the impact. We believe that combining the Recreation Leader 1, 2 to just one simple Recreation Leader, the Senior Recreation Leader 1 and 2 to just a simple Senior Recreation Leader, and a little more complicated, the Lifeguard 1 and 2 and the Water Safety Instructor to Lifeguard. And we're also asking to combine the classifications of Program Specialist and Recreation Specialist to just create the Recreation Specialist position. The increases to minimum wage will impact the Recreation Leader by about $10,600. That number is based on the average hours worked last fiscal year. The increase will have no immediate impact to our senior leaders, our admin service worker, our Aquatic Center Assistant Manager, and our Office Assistant. And that's because the people who are the incumbents are already within the ranges of those positions as we're presenting to you. The Lifeguard, the starting range for the Lifeguard will jump from $11.19 to $12.60. But we're combining all three of the classifications into one and allowing for a differential to be awarded to the lifeguards who work as a water safety instructor. So we believe we're going to see a savings of around $3,000 by eliminating that water safety instructor position and just offering a differential to those working in that classification. There will be a decrease in the range for recreation specialists from a starting salary of $19.57 to $17.65. We currently have 2 program specialists that will be affected by this increase, which will cost an amount of $5,200. The increase to the human resources specialist will be $12,000, but that increase will be over the next 5 fiscal years. That won't be an immediate increase. The marketing specialist will have a range of $19.57 to $24.86, and it will replace one of our current recreation specialist positions. Again, it is recommended that the board review and approve the updated job descriptions and accompanying salary schedule. Any questions or comments?
No? Bob, any? Elaine? I know you've done the heavy lifting on this with Catherine, so.
Yeah, I just want to commend staff, Macy and Eric, for being so thinking out of the box and being able to make sure that our employees are taken care of, but yet helping the district to be able to move on through this complicated minimum wage things. So I do want to thank them because when Eric presented it to us, I was like, really? That's a good idea. So was very impressed with that. So I have nothing other than I'm in full support of it, so.
Mike? No. Nothing? Yeah. I can just tell by looking at this chart, every year this is going to get harder.
Yeah.
Because that minimum wage number is going to keep climbing farther into our salary schedule. And it's going to get harder, so. Okay. So I have a motion to approve the updated job descriptions and accompanying salary schedule.
I will make the motion to approve the updated job descriptions and accompanying salary schedule.
I have a second?
Second.
Karen?
Director Magner?
Aye.
Director Dixon?
Aye.
Director Mishler?
Aye.
Director Kelly? Chairman Malloy?
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Item F, consideration approval of position allocation for 2018-19.
Okay, good evening again. This is the second of the 3 presentations I am giving tonight. Since the 2015-16 budget, staff has been providing the board a yearly position allocation report. This document helps the board and staff know and track any changes in our full-time and our part-time year-round classifications. And it also helps us with the budget impact. And we were recommending that the board review and approve the updated position allocation report. Over the last 6 fiscal years, we have increased our staff slowly, ensuring that we add the right positions at the right time. You can see that from last year, 17-18, it's going from 41 to 43 positions. That's an increase of just 2 positions. Those 2 positions are our part-time year-round recreation specialist. We're requesting that we add these 2 positions. They would work in recreation in both the sports division and in camps and classes. As you can see, administration department is staying the same. We added 1 position last year. It was a part-time year-round administrative analyst. And recreation is actually reallocating one of their recreation specialists into the marketing specialist and adding the 2 part-time year-round recreation specialists. That will give us a total of 3 of those in that classification. And parks will remain the same as it did last year as well. With the budget that was passed this evening, the impact was calculated in, and that was around $31,000 for the additional 2 positions. The Recreation Department has identified revenue increase of $83,000, which will help offset this impact, and they will also be reallocating part-time funds to go towards the addition of the 2 part-time year-round recreation specialists. So again, it's recommended that the board review and approve the updated position allocation reports.
Okay, any questions for Catherine?
Once again, Eric is stirring the pot, and I appreciate what he does. You know, it's always nice to have fresh eyes look at things, and I think he's come a long ways with this. So, and now that you have your 6 months in, why? I'm assuming we'll see some more. So, but I want to thank staff because this once again is thinking out of the box, and I do really appreciate the general manager and the human resources specialist for bringing this kind of information to the board on an annual basis, because this is so important for us to know where we are with positions.
Super. Thanks, Lane. Bob, you got anything? No. No? Yeah? No? Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the updated position allocation report.
I'll second it.
Director Magner?
Aye.
Chairman Malloy?
Aye.
Director Dixon?
Aye.
Director Mishler?
Aye.
Director Kelly?
Aye.
Item G, consideration approval of 2% cost of living adjustment for all full-time and part-time year-round non-represented employees and the updated salary schedules.
Okay, this is my final presentation and your final presentation of the evening. We're asking that you consider approving and recommended that you approve the board, approve the updated salary schedule with a 2% COLA for the non-represented full-time and part-time year-round employees. During the 2018 budget workshops, the board requested staff to bring a 2% COLA to their non-represented district employees. The salary schedules are typically updated when job classifications are added and changed. Adjustments are made to minimum wage, which that's every year, and boards award the COLAs. At this time, the COLA is only for the non-represented classifications within the district, which is most of our admin, except for our customer service representatives, all of recreation, and the management team of the parks. Once the MOU has been ratified, we hope to bring back the full-time, part-time, year-round salary schedule with a COLA as well. We brought this to personnel in June. They have both reviewed the information, and the impact was around $43,821. And this has been calculated into the budget that was presented this evening. Again, we're recommending that the board consider and approve the updated salary schedule with a 2% COLA for non-represented full-time and part-time year-round employees.
Thank you, Catherine. Anybody questions?
Just what is this? It takes effect with the new fiscal year? Or is it?
This will take place this next, starting Saturday. That will be the effective date.
Bob? Anything? Elaine?
Yeah, I want to make sure that everybody understands that the general manager position is not included in this. So, yeah, because you said management people, so I just want to make sure that everyone understands that the general manager's salary is not included in this.
The chart in our staff report.
Yes, even though it does.
Has a blank for Mary's raise.
Yeah.
So. We got her last month.
Yeah.
Mike, you have any questions?
No.
Comments? Okay. Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the updated salary schedule with a 2% COLA for non-represented full-time and part-time year-round employees.
I'll second it.
Director Magner?
Aye.
Chairman Malloy?
Aye.
Director Dixon?
Aye.
Director Mishler?
Aye.
Director Kelly?
Okay, item 10, informational items. We'll start with me. First of all, congrats to both Pleasant Valley and Oxnard Union High School District on their successful bond elections. Pleasant Valley had to wait until 3 seconds to midnight to actually pull ahead, but they did and have been certified as the winner. The results of that are going to result in some bigger and better and nicer and more updated facilities for our community to recreate on. So we and the people we serve will be enjoying a benefit of some of that expenditure. CalPERS has been busy lately, doing a lot of talk about their work on their investment portfolio. They're putting together a private equity strategy to try and increase their returns. They had been bragging pretty regularly about their returns for the current year, but magically they've gone silent because the fiscal year just ended. And as you recall from the presentation I made a few months ago, they need 46% more money in the CalPERS retirement fund to actually have the earnings that they need at the forecasted rate of 7.25%. So my expectation is that some additional unfunded liability is going to be created this year, and in addition to the amount that they've already told us about that we have to be. They also announced, as Leo mentioned, that their number set a 1.16 rise in health insurance rates, but that's over like 1 million people, so our numbers are a lot closer. But it is a positive. It would have been much worse for us to have budgeted for a 7% increase in January and ended up with 15. So it's looking like we'll end up ahead on that. So that's actually good news for us. And that's all I have. Special districts, I think we had a meeting since the last special districts meeting, haven't we? We haven't? So, Mike, you want to talk about?
No, we haven't.
Yeah, we haven't. Okay, that's what I thought. We had it before the last one. CSDA, Elaine?
I have not been to a major meeting. We had a update on the grassroots with the advocacy group a couple weeks ago, and went through some of the major things that have been changing up there. So it's an ever evolving door daily since we're getting closer to the end of the legislative time, and when Governor Brown can sign things. So I will update you as soon as things happen with us that we are really involved in. So just everything is moving from minute to minute, really, from committees back out to be voted on and things. So, but as it's happening, I'll let you know. So nothing to report tonight, though.
Okay, Santa Monica Mountains?
Yes, I attended the June 18th meeting. Just two quick items there. Their preliminary budget is $43,783,000 for the upcoming year. And part of that money, which is kind of interesting, $850,000 is going for fuel management, which means taking out dead trees and old trees and vegetation and stuff. But, you know, they have 70,000 acres they oversee. So $850,000 may sound nice, but it's not going to go very far when you have 70,000 acres you got to oversee and stuff. So, but
Is
anyway.
that sort of a normal amount for an annual spend on that?
Oh no, they didn't even do that much last year. They've been increased. This is the largest number I've seen on that so far to date. They're getting more and more serious and worried about fuel management. I also should mention that this happened earlier, but they've also changed their policy. They used to, when they found homeless people living in their area, they used to give them 3 days notice. That's gone. Now they're moving them out literally, over. They basically move them out at the same time they find them now. Yeah. Before they used to give them, well, we'll come back in 3 days and help you move. But now
the fire risk is immediate.
the fire danger is just too high from campfires and stuff in their area, so they just move them out now whenever they find them.
Okay. Let's see, standing committees. First is finance. We continue to be in great shape through 11 months of the fiscal year, because our numbers are always a month behind. Our revenues are already 115% of budget, so we're going to get more money than we planned, and our expenses are roughly 10% below budget. Now, that means that we're pretty much on track because we actually have a lot of expenses that are in the period, but we don't pay till the following month. So 10% ahead is really more like right on track, but we'll be comfortable. Assessment fund is at 98% of revenue, and we're at 12% on our expenses. Same situation there. Perhaps the best news is that our cash is up about $1.5 million. The money in the bank is up about $1.5 million from a year ago, and that's with no Quimby dollars. I mean, when Leo showed the jumps in our income year to year, that is always because we got a Quimby check for a development that went in. We had none of those checks this year, yet we still gained $1.5 million on cash flow, which is outstanding. And I also noticed that the interest earnings continues to rise. It went up 0.0 in the Ventura County pool, went up 0.076%. Now it's up to 1.857%. So the earnings on that cash is going to be above our projections as well. But overall, we're in great shape, and in the next few weeks, we'll be looking at what do you say, Leo, like 98% final numbers for the year? Not quite everything, but close. Yeah, we'll have that next month. Liaison committee. Did you guys meet this month? I didn't think so.
No, but we have one scheduled. What?
I don't know. I don't see one.
19th of July, we have a meeting scheduled with the city.
With the city, okay.
Yeah, I noticed it's an hour and a half long this time. So.
And personnel, I can tell you were busy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Director Kelly and I have been very busy with personnel and Catherine. So.
And policy.
Basically, we're looking at, we're still, I'm not sure how many steps, I've lost track how many meetings we've had on the same topic, but we're going through looking at all the ways that we have agreed agreements with all the different partners in the community and trying to balance all that stuff out. So at some point, we'll come forward to the board, and we're not going to have a single recommendation, but we'll have a varied range of recommendations to explore and look through and see what to do. So at some point in the future, we don't have any projected date on that yet. I don't,
This year.
this year. Yeah, this year. Okay.
This year. Okay. Well,
Sometime this year.
keep working at it till the decision's easy for us. So keep fleshing it out. So, foundation.
Yes, I'm doing my promotion again.
Yes.
We have our upcoming 4th annual Party for the Parks on August 25th. Want to make sure everybody gets their tickets for it. We're still looking for sponsors. Would love to have you as a sponsor, and also would love to have you to attend. And you can get the information off of our website, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody.
Okay. General Manager report.
Okay, give you a few updates regarding National Recreation and Park Month. So Monday we had a guided hike. We had 42 attendees. On Tuesday for the Independence Day dance, we had 125 attendees. We have, as a reminder, on Sunday, July 14th, we have the root beer run and ice cream invite. And right now we have 70 people that have corresponded that say they will be attending. We have one potential sponsor, and then we have about 260 people that have, or at least liked or put information as far as interested on Facebook. Next Friday starts our Movies in the Park series with Toy Story at dusk, and reminder that we have Rock City Studios that's coming out, as well as food trucks, and that's also in partnership with the foundation. So a lot going on and a lot of different things coming out. Tonight we started the concert in the park with the Camarillo band, and it looks like we had, I think, Eric, 120 people that showed up for tonight's, just with all the Facebook posts and Instagram and all that stuff that we're trying to do. So looking like we're getting a lot of people coming out for a lot of the free events. So that's what I have right now. I know Director Magner touched on legislation, and there's stuff going back and forth right now. So trying to keep up with some of that and where it's at. CalPERS with the JPAs and where that's going to land. So they're still going back and forth with some of that. So once we get more updated, we'll bring it back to the board.
Okay. Item 11, oral communications from board members and staff. Any staff members have anything? No? Board members? Neil, you got anything?
No.
No? Mike?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm looking forward to hearing when the liaison committee meets with the city about the potential for the senior center in gym or whatever, and options, and working out some type of, I'm really looking forward to see what type of partnership we can build with the city on that and going forward for the whole community. It'd be real exciting to see something come out of all this and move forward with some type of plan that we can start moving forward with to enact and make headway on. So I'm really excited about that and looking forward to see what the city comes back with. So,
okay.
Thank you.
Bob, anything?
I just wanted to make a quick announcement. I've enjoyed my time here on the board for these last 12 years, and I just want to announce that I will be running for another 4-year term.
Thank you. Mrs. Magner?
I guess I'm jumping on his bandwagon because I've decided that I will be running for another 4 years also. I really enjoy being on this board, and I look forward to representing the people of the entire district. So, and that's it.
4 more years, times 2.
4 more years?
Thank you.
Times 2. Okay.
Okay, we are adjourned.
You got me scared there. I'm like, I'm not going in for 8 years.